right, everybody, welcome back. Today, we're all about fitness goals.
Yeah.
Getting into the right mindset.
Yes.
Which, I don't know about you, but for me, it's sometimes the hardest part. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm psyched to actually do the thing, but getting my brain on board, whole other story.
Right.
So we're doing a deep dive on this, all thanks to Drumroll Please, another podcast episode we found. Hey, gotta learn from the best, right? And this one's packed with good stuff.
It really is. And what's great is it's not just about, like, hitting the gym harder.
Oh, tell me more.
It gets into the whole psychology of why we set goals in the first place.
Okay, see, now that's what I need, because honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions.
Totally. And this episode, it really digs into that, like, what's the deeper motivation here?
Ooh. Okay, so what'd they say? Spill the tea.
Yeah.
What were some of the big takeaways?
Well, they said a big one is you got to have a strong why behind your goals.
Okay, that makes sense. But, like, how do they say you figure that out?
Yeah. It's all about self-reflection, asking yourself the tough questions.
Like what? Give me an example.
So instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, which, let's be real, we've all been there.
Oh, 100%.
It's digging deeper. Why is that actually important to you?
Okay, yeah. Getting specific?
Exactly. Like, do you want to have more energy to play with your kids?
Oh, that's a good one.
Or maybe you want to feel more confident in a swimsuit. Whatever it is, it's got to be personal.
I like that. So it's about finding what really lights your fire, not just some generic goal.
Exactly. And when things get tough, which they will, that why is what's going to keep you going.
Makes sense. If you're only motivated by the number on the scale, it's easy to give up, right?
Exactly. But if it's something deeper, something that truly matters to you, you're more likely to stay committed for the long haul.
Okay, so we've got our why, that deeper motivation. Where do we go from there?
That's where the strategy comes in, setting smart goals.
Right. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Yes. And the episode does a fantastic job breaking down why each element is important.
So it's not just about remembering the acronym. It's about understanding why it matters.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. What makes each part of SMART so crucial?
Well, take time-bound, for instance. There's actually a psychological principle behind it called the Zeigarnik effect.
Ooh, fancy. The what now?
The Zeigarnik effect. It basically says we remember unfinished tasks way better than ones we've completed.
Huh. That's so true, though. It's like that to-do list that never ends.
Right. So by giving yourself a deadline, you're kind of tapping into that, creating that sense of urgency.
So it's not just about having an end date. It's actually playing into how our brains work.
Exactly.
I love that. It's like sneaky psychology to trick ourselves into achieving our goals.
Exactly. And then there's the specific and measurable aspect.
Yeah, those always trip me up. What's their deal?
Well, so many people set goals that are way too vague, right? Like get healthier or exercise more.
Oh, guilty as charged. That's totally me. But what's wrong with that?
Well, what does healthier even mean? How do you measure more exercise? You're setting yourself up for failure because it's just too broad.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like telling yourself you're going to go on an adventure, but you don't have a map or a destination.
Yes. And if you can't track your progress, how can you stay motivated, right?
So you're speaking my language now. So how do we fix it? What would be a better way to phrase those goals?
Well, instead of eat better, a SMART goal would be something like, I'm going to eat 2 servings of vegetables with dinner 4 nights a week.
Ooh, I see the difference. That's way more concrete.
Exactly. It's specific, it's measurable, it gives you a clear target.
Okay, this is making so much sense. It's like my brain can actually grasp onto that.
Exactly.
Love it. So we've got the why, the SMART goals. Anything else this magical podcast episode cover? Oh, yeah, there was something else. They talked about this thing called, like, process goals.
Yes, process goals. So important.
Okay, see, now that's a new one for me. I'm all ears. Tell me more. What are process goals all about?
Okay, so we get caught up in the big picture, right? Like lose 20 pounds or run a 5K.
Oh, for sure. Those are usually my go-tos.
Right. But focusing only on that end result, it can actually backfire.
Really? How so?
It's like it makes the whole thing feel overwhelming, you know? Like you might not get there right away.
And then you give up.
Exactly. And that's where process goals come in.
So it's less about the destination, more about the journey.
Yes. It's about the daily things you can do to get closer to that big goal.
Okay. Give me an example. Help me wrap my head around this.
So instead of I want to run a marathon, which, whoa, intimidating.
Tell me about it.
A process goal would be more like, this week I'm going to follow my training plan and run 3 times.
Oh, I see. So you're breaking it down into bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. And it shifts your focus to something you're in control of right now, your actions today.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So instead of freaking out about the marathon, I can just focus on that run I have planned for tomorrow.
Exactly. It's about building those consistent habits over time. They actually talked about different types of process goals, too, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, like what?
So there are habit-based process goals, which are all about building those daily routines.
Like drinking more water or finally trying that meditation app everyone's raving about?
Yes, or like making sure you get 8 hours of sleep each night.
Ooh, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
But so important.
Right. And then there are performance-based ones, more about upping your game, like lifting heavier weights or nailing a new yoga pose.
Okay, I like that. So it's tailored to what you're actually trying to achieve.
Exactly. It's not one size fits all. You find what works for you and what keeps you motivated.
This is great stuff. Okay, so we've got our big why. We're breaking it down with SMART goals, and now we've added process goals to the mix. What else did this episode say about staying motivated and actually, doing the thing? I feel like we need some serious accountability hacks because, you know me, out of sight, out of mind.
Right. Well, they had some good tips in the episode, like simple stuff, but it works. Like, write it down.
Seriously. That's it. Just write it down.
Yeah. It sounds too easy, but honestly, there's something about putting pen to paper. It's like you're making that commitment real.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. If it's just floating around in my head, it's easy to ignore. But when it's written down,
it's real, like a contract with yourself.
I like it. And it's a visual reminder, too. Like, every time you see it, you're like, oh, right, I have that goal.
Exactly. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and forget, So, yeah, writing it down, big one.
Okay, noted. What else? What about when motivation alone just isn't cutting it? Any tips for those moments?
Oh, they talked about visualization, which everyone's heard of it, but they had a cool spin on it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What'd they say?
So, yeah, you picture yourself achieving your goal, right? But they also said visualize the setbacks.
Wait, what? Why would I want to visualize failing?
No, not failing. Visualize the obstacles, the moments you might want to give up. Like, imagine that day you really don't want to work out.
Yeah, I know those days all too well. The snooze button is looking real good.
Right. But what if you've already visualized yourself getting out of bed and going anyway?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's like mental rehearsal for those tough moments.
Exactly. You're basically pre-programming your brain to push through.
Okay, that's actually kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's not, if those moments are going to happen, it's when, right?
Exactly. So you're prepared. You've got your game plan ready.
Wow, I am loving all these tips. This is why we do these deep dives, right? So much good stuff packed into one little episode.
I know, right? It's amazing how much we can learn from just one good source.
Totally. And speaking of learning, we've covered so much ground today. We talked about finding our why, getting smart with our goals, breaking it down with process goals, even tackling those mental hurdles with visualization.
Phew, I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Me too. But in all seriousness, this has been an awesome deep dive, and I hope you all learned as much as I did.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for you and building those healthy habits one step at a time.
Couldn't said it better myself. All right, everybody, that's a wrap on fitness goals. Go forth and crush it. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.